Welcome back. All right, so I was doing some multitasking tonight during the wrestling show, which I am about to review. I also was working on my song list. I've got 175 songs ranked so far, but it's the list of about 1,400 songs. So I'm working on it. And considering I've only been ranking songs for like 3 days, 175 is not bad. So tonight's Raw began again with the Hulk Hogan tribute. So they had that. They also had some Hogan videos during the show. So the tribute they had on Friday night, they had something very similar tonight. And again, it's a nice gesture by WWE towards Hulk Hogan. So then, after that is done, Jey Uso comes out to the ring. He then has Heyman comes out, does a promo. He dissed Santa Claus, which, hey, controversial take to intimate that Santa Claus isn't real. So, I mean, seriously, Heyman going there. And then he also kind of took a shot at Rikishi, which has me wondering, so is Rikishi going to become involved in this somehow? I don't know how mobile Rikishi is at this point, but he's definitely vocal online. And with all the Samoans being Samoans and all related, could we see somebody come out and get involved in this weekend? It's possible. So Jay answers, and then there's some yeeting by the crowd, and everybody seemed to be happy with that whole exchange to start the show. We then get AJ Styles tagging with the Kabuki Warriors, which of course are Asuka and Kairi Sane, against Dom, so Dominic Mysterio, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel of the Judgment Day. So, honestly, I think Roxanne has taken to the main roster so well. Roxanne Perez has done an amazing job taking to the main roster. I think better than a lot of other NXT call-ups. I think she's done... Now, it helps being part of Judgment Day and being put in a tag team with Raquel Rodriguez, but still, she's done really, really well. AJ ends up winning it with a phenomenal forearm on Dominic Mysterio on a night when, honestly, the faces did really well. The heels did not have a fantastic night. Keep in mind, though, that in pay-per-views, very often whoever's left standing tall the week of the pay-per-view on Raw or SmackDown will very often lose at the pay-per-view. So that's one thing to keep an eye on this weekend. Then Sheamus and Rusev, they had a recap from last week. Sheamus was interviewed backstage by Jackie Redmond. They're interrupted by Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller now on his own. They had Sheamus versus Grayson right after this. Sheamus ends up winning with a brogue kick. When Rusev tried to interfere, Sheamus kind of gave him a forearm, and then Rusev beats him with the shillelagh. So there you go. And there was a huge welt across Sheamus' chest, so he really hit him. I think Sheamus told him, said, look, I really want you to give me the business or I'm going to get up and it's not going to go well. So that looked like it hurt. I don't think you can fake that. I think that was quite the... It's going to be an amazing match between the two. It is. Jackie then interviews Naomi. New Day gets booed as they whine in an arena interview, which was done just for the crowd. This was not something that I think was seen. If you have ads on your Netflix, I don't think this was seen by you. I do not have ads on my Netflix. Heyman is then backstage with Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. I think with the injury to Seth, whether he's injured or he's not, and that's still a whole debate, right? The more that they say, oh, he's really hurt, he's going to be out for a long time, the more I'm thinking, is he though? So I think this is being done to build up Braun Breaker, and what we saw at the end of the show, I think, really shows that Braun's kind of becoming the guy. And you can see that it's kind of pivoting in that direction. Lyra Valkyria goes into the ring, so she does a bit of an in-ring promo. Becky comes out, so Becky gets beat up by Lyra Valkyria. And there you go. That's the match for this week. Graves had an interview with Sami, and of course that's Corey Graves, with an interview with Sami Zayn. It's interrupted by Karrion Kross, who continues to give his best performances in his entire time in WWE. Karrion Kross is absolutely one of the most over wrestlers, and the personality that he's had over this last few months has been fantastic. I'm interested to see where this is going to go. I think it would be more interesting, honestly, if Sami won and Karrion has to say that he's wrong. So basically, the stipulation out to this match is that if Karrion Kross wins, Sami has to say Karrion was right. And if Karrion wins the match, Sami wins the match, Karrion has to say that he was wrong. About this darkness and Sami and all that. Well, we've seen it. Like, we've seen Sami as a heel. I find it an interesting feud because we've seen Sami as a heel. We've seen him backstab guys in the past. Then we had Naomi, Chelsea, and the Secret Service against Rhea, Io, Nikki Bella, and Stephanie Vaquer. An 8-woman tag match, which was interesting. Interesting four lady tag teams here, especially Rhea, Io, Nikki, and Stephanie. Bayley is then talked to backstage and says she feels lost while she's talking to Jackie because she doesn't have a match at SummerSlam. I think Bayley's going to turn heel. I think that's where this is headed. I think she's going to cost Lyra her title. I think she's going to go out and make sure that Becky gets the win. I think she's going to cost... That's my prediction anyways. We'll see what ends up happening there. And then this is my favorite moment of the night. It's one of two that I put on the board, a quote. Corey Graves, as the Devil's Kiss is being given by Stephanie Vaquer. Okay, so as the Devil's Kiss is being given by Stephanie Vaquer on Chelsea Green, Corey Graves says, "I'm a happily married man, Cole." And Michael Cole had said nothing to him at the time. So I thought that was one of the funniest lines I have heard from an announcer in a very long time. Because that Devil's Kiss, there's a reason the guys cheer for the move, and it is an interesting one. My wife thinks it looks ridiculous. But they also mentioned Booker T, because you have to, because Booker T in NXT was really a fan of the Devil's Kiss. Anyways, Vaquer ends up pinning Chelsea to win this. I do think that coming out of SummerSlam, we'll see Naomi still with the title, and Vaquer will challenge her. So I think that's where this is going to go, and I think that feud is going to be fantastic when we get there. The LWO then had their title shots against Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Before that match started, they showed Rhea and Io kind of having a backstage argument. I guess you have to have that before SummerSlam. So Io mentions, "You've never beaten me," and Rhea's like, "I'm going to beat you," and Io's like, "No, you're not." So this little squabble between them, Naomi's going to get in the middle, and she's going to score the victory. My guess is that Rhea hits her finisher, and as she's going to pin Io, she gets pulled out of the ring by Naomi. Naomi goes in, pins her for a 3, and all hell breaks loose from there. So that's my guess anyways. But anyways, I thought it was an impressive coast-to-coast by Del Toro in this match for the LWO tag team. And that got a 2.5. Then El Grande Americano distracts. And then another Grande Americano comes out to distract, who I think was Chad Gable. I think the second one was Chad Gable. So we'll see what they do with this plot line now. The funny thing is, they showed Chad Gable at a baseball game with his arm in a sling, and Michael Cole said, well, he's going to be out for a while longer. And immediately I thought, so he's coming right back then. Cool. There seems to be, and I don't know if they're trying to like throw off the dirt sheets, but there seems to be this pattern right now of, well, he's not going to be back for a while. He's back? Seriously? Wow. So, yeah, I have a feeling that was Chad Gable. So maybe they're going to tag Gable and Kaiser up. I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes, though. And then, Finn Balor hits the coup de grace and pins Del Toro. Gunther had an in-ring promo. Punk comes out and interrupts because that's what you do in a wrestling ring. They argue over who's the best, and it didn't come to blows. I actually thought it might, but it didn't. Then we get the main event, which is Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed. We know this wasn't going to be a wrestling match. This was just to whet our appetite for this weekend. Breaker comes out, spears Jey, so Jey wins by disqualification, meaning that the only match the heels technically won was the tag team match between the LWO and Judgment Day. Roman then slowly comes out to make the save. His music plays. It's at least, I think, 10 seconds before he comes out, and then he's just sort of walking and marching, and I'm thinking, okay, A, why are you taking your time? And B, where's the chair? Bring a chair out if you're going to make the save. You've got Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. These are big dudes. Bring out a chair, club. And sure enough, he kind of makes the save, but the heels end up standing tall. Tsunamis are handed out. Braun spears both guys through the barrier, which didn't look like it was attached. They've done the barrier spot so many times now that it doesn't really have an effect. I remember when it used to, but it doesn't really have an effect anymore. My favorite quote, though, outside of Corey Graves with the "I'm a married man" call, Corey Graves is just chef's kiss tonight. But Braun Breaker was telling Roman Reigns, "I own the ring. It's my ring, my ropes, my everything." And then he said, "See all the fat asses in the arena? They're here for me." I think it was he said they're here for me, but I made sure I wrote down, "See all the fat asses in this arena." That is a Scott Steiner deep cut right there. That is an absolute Scott Steiner deep cut. We know Braun Breaker's related to Scott Steiner, so I thought that was great. I thought a little bit of homage was nicely done there by Braun Breaker, and for a lot of younger fans, they may not have necessarily put that together if they're not on the internet a lot, but automatically I was like thinking Samoa Joe got his fat ass and all these fat asses, and yeah. So Braun Breaker is over right now. They're making him look like he is the biggest threat in WWE. I do wonder with this group if at some point he's going to get too big for his britches and Seth Rollins is going to have to correct him. That is where I think this probably ends up going, because Braun eventually is going to need to be a face. It's going to happen. The crowd's going to be on his side. The crowd's getting close to that right now. Anyways, Bronson Reed, I don't think that happens for Bronson Reed. But they made him look strong tonight, too. So I thought this was a pretty good setup for SummerSlam this weekend. The Saturday, night one of SummerSlam, I won't be here for that because I'm having a street hockey game that day. We're having a meet-up with subscribers. On Sunday, though, I'll be able to watch SummerSlam, and maybe we'll do a live stream on the Sunday. So stay tuned. With all the growth on the channel, it might be kind of fun to do a live stream on this channel during a wrestling event and see what all the fuss is about with the wrestling. But anyways, there you go. It was an enjoyable show. I thought it was pretty well put together, but let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. The channel's getting very close to 32,000 subscribers, and that's something I can thank all of you for as well. That being said, I will talk to you again soon.